Bob, and Ram. Nobody asked, but we give you our opinions. Acknowledge us like Roman Reigns to all his minions. Coming from the grave like our name was Undertaker. Women's wrestling is cool, but where the hell is Britt Baker? Coherence takes abandon all hope. We talk shit like Ricochet from the top rope. We are marks, sometimes we're friendly. Sometimes we show our whole ass like Mandy. We are Mick discussing what is the latest. Jericho is the GOAT, but Sid is our favorite. We are marks. We are marks.
What's going on, Marks? Welcome back to the podcast, the We Are Marks podcast. And before I introduce my co-host, I am your host. My name is Ram, and I promised you a John Cena tribute, and I plan to deliver. Put a lot of time and effort into this, and I hope you can all enjoy it. Okay. Today we honor a man who proved that true strength isn't just measured by muscles or championships, but by character, perseverance, and heart. John Cena is more than a 16-time, 17-time world champion. He is more than entrance music, the iconic salute, or the words, "You can't see me." John Cena represents what it means to never give up. From the moment he stepped into the ring, Cena embodied hustle, loyalty, and respect. When the crowd cheered, he carried their energy. When they doubted him, he carried their weight. No matter the reaction, he showed up every night, worked harder than anyone else, and stayed true to who he was. But John Cena's impact reaches far beyond the ring. Through countless Make-A-Wish visits, he has given hope to children in their darkest moments, reminding them that heroes are real. Through his actions, he taught us that fame means nothing unless it's used to lift others. Cena showed us that resilience matters, that being yourself, even when it's hard, is worth it, that respect isn't demanded, it's earned through consistency, humility, and effort. No, wait, there's more. John Cena didn't just entertain generations, he inspired them. He taught us to stand tall, keep pushing forward, and believe in something bigger than ourselves. So today, we don't just salute a wrestler, an actor, or a superstar. We salute a role model, a leader, a symbol of perseverance. John Cena showed the world that you don't have to see someone to feel their impact. And his impact will never fade. Until last Saturday night when Gunther made him tap out like a bitch. Am I right? Rob and Bob, what is going on, gentlemen? John Cena is no more.
I had a joke about how I'm going to make you guys my bitch, but you kind of ruined that. So, you know, yeah. How's it going?
Welcome in.
What's going on, America?
Listen, that is obviously where we're going to start. Typically, on something like a Saturday night's main event, we'd run down the list, and the main event would be the last thing we talk about. Today, I think it's very warranted that we start with the biggest conversation in wrestling, which is not only the end of John Cena and his final match where he did not only lose, but tapped out, which is probably the rarest thing in all of sports. Tell me how you guys feel, first about the loss, second about the tap out on John Cena's career.
I'm going to let Bob go first on this one.
I mean, the loss, you know, I said on the show last week, I would have had John Cena win. I still would have had John Cena win. I think he could have ended on top. I don't buy in to the idea he had to lose. I think it's it is something that has happened over the course of wrestling, but I think a big reason that guys had to lose on their way out was they were going somewhere else. You look at Bret Hart and Vince McMahon saying he needed to lose to Shawn Michaels. Well, Bret was going to WCW. We're not going to see John Cena on Wednesday night. We're not going to see him on AEW or anywhere else. So I don't think it was this huge necessary thing. I think he could have won the match, but it's fine. That's my take. That's not what they did. Fine. As far as the tap out, I mean, your speech gave a lot of good reasons he should not have tapped out. I mean, he was a hero to kids. You could hear them at the end when he was in the hold. There were grown men screaming, "Just don't give up." They had conceded that John Cena was going to lose, and they just didn't want to see the guy who always said never give up to give up. And it's unfortunate because from that standpoint, I mean, the guy who said to never give up gave up. He did. And you can try to say it any which way about why he gave up, but the truth of the matter is he tapped. And I personally feel like the situation probably would have been the same if he didn't. And quite frankly, from the booking side of things, I also think Gunther would be a heel, and I don't think he would have gotten quite the dramatic reaction at Triple H, which going forward I do think is a concern. Do these people hate Triple H? Do they hate Gunther? Do they hate Gunther because he's the embodiment of Triple H? I thought it went well on Raw, but we'll see in that regard. But that's my take on it. I mean, I get why Cena lost, and it is what it is, but, you know.
Okay, the reason why you went first is I'm going to break down everything you just said. One, if John Cena would have won, everyone would be saying, well, that was just a moment. What would you do after that? Where would you go? You wouldn't be able to go anywhere. You basically have to rebuild Gunther again, and John Cena's still going away. Like, if he would have, I said 2 weeks ago, John Cena could have won if he faced LA Knight. LA Knight could have got away with a loss. You couldn't have Gunther lose again because the last time we saw him in like a high profile match, he lost to CM Punk. So he had to win. Okay. And the second one about John Cena tapping out. John Cena had nothing left to prove. John Cena, through this whole thing, John Cena never said he was going to win. John Cena never said he wanted to beat Gunther. John Cena never said he wanted to go out on top. John Cena said, I want to have one more night with you guys. And everyone brings up John Cena smiling when he tapped out. He was smiling because he did everything he wanted to do. He had nothing left to prove. He had nothing left to accomplish. He had his moment. All right. You think about what was going on during that match. How he took 5 minutes to do a 5-knuckle shuffle because he Hulk Hogan did. He wanted more crowd reaction. That was not for him to win. That was for him to have one more moment with the fans. And when he tapped out smiling, that was because he accomplished what he wanted to do. He had nothing left to prove. I have no problem with anything that happened that Saturday night's main event. And as far as Triple H sucks, WWE has made it into a point where they blurred reality with kayfabe so much that people don't want stories anymore. They want what they want, and God forbid they don't get it. Like I said, if you would have had Cena win, Gunther's done. You're going to have to take 6 months just to rebuild him. He beat Cena. He did that promo on Monday night, opened with it. He is the most hated man in sports entertainment right now.
Yeah.
So, honest to God, everything that happened, I think was perfectly done.
I was going to bring up the Raw crowd later because that first, how long was Gunther on the screen? 20 minutes. They were on fire. Like they hated Gunther and they were completely dead the rest of the show to the point that Rey Mysterio came out. I think that was towards the end of the show. And no reaction. You could hear no reaction. And they panned to a guy in the crowd with his arms crossed like this, yawning. I was like, that's fucking brilliant. But anyway, back to the John Cena of it all. I've also heard an argument that people were like, he shouldn't have gave up. He should have just passed out in the ring like Austin. And I was like, well, Austin he was a plucky underdog at that point. He couldn't give up. Absolutely not. But John Cena at the end of his career, why would he risk his health to survive a match that means nothing, essentially? Doesn't really make a lot of sense. So personally for me, yeah, I thought the execution of the main event and the subsequent Raw was perfect. I thought it did everything. It accomplished literally everything it needed to accomplish. It gave John Cena one more fantastic night that was really all about him and kept your monster heel moving on the fast track to getting back into the main event. That was perfect.
Yeah, nicely done.
Any more retorts, Bob?
I mean, I kind of said my piece. I disagree with the tap. As far as Cena, we'll see. We'll see what happens to Gunther. I like Gunther. I hope that they continue to build off this. I think they got to keep the heat on him and make sure to find ways that it doesn't transition to Triple H. But I agree with your point. I thought the match was good. I think the match probably won't get as much credit. The build up and everything this last 11 months wasn't the way people wanted it to go. But I do think in a couple of years it will be a match that when people kind of forget about the stories in the last 11 months, when you just put on John Cena's last match, it was a good match. I mean, Gunther was the right guy. I mean, that for sure. How they got there, questionable, but he was the right guy. I mean, that was solid.
Okay, so we have Powerbomb, Sleeper, AA, and what's the submission called?
Cole called it the STFU, but
STF2, right?
Yeah.
What's it called now, though?
STF.
The STF. They just cut out the.
I thought but anyway, I said the over/under was, I think, 8.5, right? I think we got there. I think we hit the over, right?
With all four of them? Yeah, I think so too.
I'm confident we hit the over on that.
Yeah.
It had to be pretty high, especially if you consider the amount of time Cena got out of the choke and back into it. That would help. For the gamblers out there, that stuff counts. So
for the listen, if you're on the We Are Mark Sportsbook,
if you were doing 5-knuckle shuffles, though, you'd be a little pissed off that last one didn't hit.
That's a setup. Not a finisher. Okay, let's talk about the rest of Saturday night's main event, because I mean, overall, I thought it was pretty good. It did not meet my expectations, honestly, except for one particular match and person. But we'll start it out with what the show started out with, which was Cody Rhodes and Obafemi, which, in my opinion, the entrance and the moment before the match started felt like a huge deal. And then they kind of killed it at the end by giving them 7 minutes and having Drew McIntyre interfere. A no contest. It was a safe play, that's for sure.
Yeah, very deflating, but I agree with you. I was at bowling on Saturday night, and I'm with a bunch of people that don't really watch NXT, but they watch wrestling. So I turn on Peacock, and everybody's like, wait, that's his entrance? I'm like, yes. And like, they saw him, and they saw that his aura looked bigger than Cody's during those entrances. Like, and they're like, that guy looks amazing. I'm like, he is the future. He is the future. I don't like what happened at the end with Drew McIntyre. I get why they did it, but at the same time, if that's what you're going to do, because I do say Ricky Saints beats him at New Year's Evil. So if that's what you were going to do, why not just have Ricky Saints there? That was my takeaway from that. But
I really just think it was to get eyeballs on Oba. And
it might have been. And as I said, that his entrance, people stopped and were looking at my phone while we were at bowling. So yes, the entrance alone did what it was supposed to do.
And really what they did with that 7 minutes was Oba dominated 5 of it. Mm-hmm. And as soon as Cody started making the comeback, that's when Drew popped in.
Right.
So really, they made the match, while it did end in a no contest. In my opinion, Oba won that on points for sure.
And you're absolutely right. I don't know. I don't like the ending. I don't like the fact that like the ref was still down when Drew got disposed of and they just stopped. Like that's I don't know. The ending was kind of sucked for me.
Yeah, I was really disappointed. I mean, I know we talked about it last week. You know, obviously this was a one match show. It was about John Cena, but I was into this match not at the same level, but that was the clear cut number two, and I would say I was more interested in this match than your normal whatever lead up match on a pay per view or something like that. I mean, I had some serious interest, and it was disappointing. I think Oba's great. I agree with everything you guys said about Oba. I don't think he needs to be called up. I think he needs to be called up to the main event. I looked at this guy and I'm tired of waiting and I'm tired of ready. This guy is ready. And if he's not ready, then make him figure it out or, get better. I mean, it's not impossible to not give this guy a chance. There's been people that have been put in spots that they weren't exactly ready for, and he can be the same way, especially when you look at SmackDown and this top of the line. I mean, I wrote down Cody versus Drew for the 25th time. That's what we're getting as, probably the main SmackDown feud. It's like, we could give this guy a shot. I mean, he's ready enough to be in the mix. And, it was disappointing to finish, but I'll also be a little disappointed if he comes up and it's like, oh, he's got to be in the mid card for 6 to 12 months. I mean, get him in the mix.
Yeah, I'm going to be straight up and honest with you. I think he's more ready than Braun Breaker right now.
I was going to say the same thing.
He is a better prospect, in my opinion, than Braun Breaker.
And I thought maybe they'd give him the U.S. title at WrestleMania, but I think that's too little. And you should push this guy to the moon. You should make him as big of a deal as he should be.
And really, like what Bob was just saying about sometimes you just got to put. That's really what they're doing with Braun Breaker. Really, is they're like figure it out, because I mean, it was 6 months ago we were on this podcast talking about how Braun Breaker ain't ready for the main event, and here he is. He's in the main event, and there's whether or not he's like he is definitely improving. And he's had a couple of promos that were okay. I mean, he had one that was dynamite, fantastic, and then he had some that were okay. He kind of talks.
He's gonna be working with Cody too in that main event, and that helps. I mean, it's not like he's getting called up to go work with the great Khali 20 years ago. He's going up there to work with Cody Rhodes, who has. I mean, I actually looked it up because I was curious. Someone was talking about the Cena WrestleMania match. Cody, that was the one bad match. I looked at his list of matches for the last 5 years. That was the only match that didn't get high ratings in the last, I think, since he was Stardust. Like, this guy can work, especially at a main event level. And you give him someone like Obafemi, they're going to be fine. So he'll be okay.
Yeah, I really loved, honestly, it was complete by accident, and I know that. But, like, Cody was bleeding, like, from the ear. And I was just like, that just, I know it was by accident, but that just adds to it right now. Right. That Oba is with his ass. Yeah, I don't know. We're going to have to see what they end up doing with Oba. And yeah, unfortunately, there's really just nobody else. And that's why we're going back to the Drew McIntyre well. Because who else are you going to put in that position at this point? I got nobody.
We miss Kevin Owens.
Yeah, it was good seeing him get the hug with Cena at the show.
During Cena's celebration thing, and that's the first person out stood out to me was, "Hey, Kevin Owens is alive." I actually believe I texted that to you guys.
That was cool. And then the two people that made me laugh were somehow the Drifter was in the front row.
And Elias, yeah.
Sami Zayn, who I thought they panned to a fan when they showed Sami Zayn. I was like, this random guy is getting some face time here.
It didn't seem like the crowd thought it was Sami Zayn. I think they thought it was because it was like cheer, 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 and then it panned to Sami Zayn, and it was like, oh, that's Sammy. Hey, Sammy.
It just looked like a fan that was being a dad. He was like with his kids and stuff.
Which was adorable, if I'm honest. Okay, the star of the night, in my opinion, the Trevor Lawrence of the women's division, Sol Ruca, defeats Bayley. Do you want to know why I called her the Trevor Lawrence of the women's division?
Because they got the same nose?
No. Because 1 minute you're like, oh my God, nobody else can do what she just did. And the next moment you go, what the hell was that? The Trevor Lawrence of the women's division, I thought she made a name for herself this weekend. Some of the stuff she did is absolutely incredible. And then there was also like 4 or 5 pretty bad botches I can't believe were Bayley's fault.
Yeah, the Soul Snatcher is one of my favorite moves.
Oh, insane.
Of all time. Just
the best finisher going right now.
I will say that till the day she has to stop doing it. The Soul Snatcher is great. She's still raw. I mean, I think she's only like 23 or something like that. She hasn't been in this long. Hasn't done the indies. This is her biggest night she's ever had wrestling. And I've been watching NXT a lot more just because I like to make videos of Booker T and his terrible commentary. But she does need some help. She is a little, I don't want to say rusty, but she needs her edges smoothed out. And we saw that on Saturday night. She is going to be good. The crop of women down in NXT are going to be phenomenal. And they need to be called up sooner rather than later. But as far as like main event scene, they're not on the same level as a Charlotte Flair. They're not on the same level as a Rhea Ripley. As far as in-ring talent.
What you just said, though, they're not going to get there just hanging out in NXT.
And you're absolutely right. That's why we call them up. And
the reason those women are, and we sound like a broken record because we had this conversation on this podcast multiple times, but there is absolutely no reason a lot of those women down there aren't on the main roster, and we're watching Maxine Dupree and Ivy Nile go at it.
I was just going to say that. The Bayley Sol Ruka match that I watched on Saturday night is 1,000 times better than that Maxine Dupree Ivy Nile match I watched 2 days ago. Like, there's no reason that those women should still be down there. I'll take Thea Hale's botch on Blake Monroe watching that on Raw than I would Maxine Dupree and Ivy Nile.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
It looked like Blake Monroe got the wind knocked out of her. That's what it looked like.
And just couldn't kick out.
Yeah, well, you've got the wind knocked out of you.
Yeah. And at that point, everybody reacted and did what they were supposed to do. The ref counted to 3 because she kicked out. But anyway, not NXT hour right now. Bob, what'd you think of Soul?
Yeah, I thought it was a good match. I mean, a lot of it, obviously, the credit to Sami Zayn's sister, Bailey Zayn. She did a great job in her role. I liked with Soul, like the one problem I have with a lot of wrestlers is I feel like there's a lot of gymnastics to do gymnastics. Like they do this somersault just to end up doing a clothesline. And I thought she found a nice way to mix it so that it didn't come across like that. And I thought that was a nice piece of the match. The other part of Soul's game.
Oh my God. You didn't just say that.
What?
Hey, Bob, who's your favorite tag team?
Yeah, well, jumping off the top rope is different than doing a somersault just to end.
Just say the Young Bucks so I can laugh a little bit.
Yeah, the Young Bucks. I've never seen the Young Bucks do a somersault just to do a clothesline. But,
all right, Bob.
But no, and I thought the way they did the Soul Snatcher, that was the best Soul Snatcher. That was like my favorite one because a lot of times you see the Soul Snatcher and you look at the other person and they're like, hit me. And I thought that the way they did it around the turnbuckle was smart because it just looked very natural. And I think finding ways to do that move that make it look natural eliminates the weirdness that sometimes happens when the person's just crouching and waiting for her to do her flip. So I thought that was great. The one thing with Sol Ruka that I think is a little bit tough is right now the Raw women's division is loaded. So she doesn't really have a spot on Raw. And the SmackDown women's division sucks. And she can't have a good match with anybody there. So she's kind of in limbo. I think potentially if they can even it out a little bit, she would be in a better spot to find a spot on the main roster, especially if they do a little bit more with the secondary belts than they're doing right now.
I mean, yeah, Julia on SmackDown. I think Alexa Bliss and Charlotte are still on SmackDown, right?
Sorry, this is not supported.
What is your Alexa just talking?
It was Alexa because I said her name. Say her name and she appears.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, good way to bring that up because that also happened on this show. Rob, you were right. Joe Hendry was on the show.
Yeah. As soon as R-Truth came out, I knew Joe Hendry was going to make an appearance. It just only made sense that, the new R-Truth was going to show up. So,
is Joe Hendry the new R-Truth?
yep.
I think so.
I think he is.
That's hilarious. I can see that though. All right, Javon Evans and
Leon Slater.
Jesus
Leon Slater.
Christ, why couldn't I remember his? All right, cut
Because
that.
he's from TNA.
Cut that. Javon Evans and Leon Slater lose to AJ Styles and Dragon Lee, which AJ did pin Leon Slater, which could go to that theory that I had, which, after I was listening to the podcast because I was editing it, I said that last week that I thought Leon Slater would pin AJ, which would lead to the title match, but that didn't make sense. It made more sense for AJ to pin Leon to get to that title match. So anyway, that's what happened. I really don't think they really got enough time, to be honest. I was actually, when the match ended, I was like, oh, that was kind of quick.
Yeah, I thought so too. I think a 20-minute match between those four would be fun. I'd like to point out that Leon Slater and Javon Evans' total age combined is not as old as AJ Styles. You were looking at two 21-year-old kids doing things that, yeah. So I thought it was good for what it was. I would like to see a bigger match out of those two, even if it's on TNA. I'll buy a $10 pay-per-view for that.
Yeah. I was disappointed with the time too. I mean, that was part of the deal across the board. I mean, we had this show that I get was about John Cena, but the secondary story was the NXT, and I felt like it just kind of felt like they were all rushed in and out. Especially considering you knew to end the show that what people are going to be talking about was John Cena. I thought across the board they could have given these guys some more time. We didn't need to hear 200 people that had met John Cena doing a goodbye. Maybe we could have done that beforehand and given these kids a little bit more time in the ring. But as far as Slater and Evans, they're another one. I mean, how we could have the Wyatts and the fucking MFT be the only two tag team feuding on SmackDown, and then you watch these guys and you're like, man, I'd really like to watch these guys on Friday night. I mean, I get it. Maybe it has to do with Leon Slater being on NXT or TNA or whatever, but it's like Javon Evans, get those guys on SmackDown, let them be a tag team. Let Javon Evans grow as a performer in a tag team. He doesn't need to be on NXT for 3 years. He can learn on the fly another one, and he can learn in a tag team environment the same way thousands of other Hall of Famers were in a tag team to start their career.
I do actually think Javon Evans is being called up soon. They might put him with Carmelo Hayes because I feel like Carmelo Hayes needs something to do. I know it sucks. Carmelo Hayes should be in the main title scene. But I think that's why Javon Evans lost his gauntlet, fatal, whatever they call it, and he's coming up sooner rather than later. Because he just faced The Miz on SmackDown, right?
Well, he also has a match against Real Americano on Raw next week.
That's right. Rayo.
And crap, there was something else. Forget it. There's Carmelo Hayes is going to be the one to beat Ilya Dragunov.
I hope so. Good for him.
I think it's going to be Candice LeRae.
Yeah, there you go. I only thought of that because they teamed together against DIY this week, and I was like,
right.
I'm going to turn on Ilya, and that's probably who's going to beat Ilya, and then Ilya can move up to Carmelo. That sounds great.
I hope so. I like heel Carmelo better than face Carmelo. I think heel Carmelo's great.
Well, Carmelo Hayes is a lot, in my opinion, like the Young Bucks. I cannot believe he's a good guy. I just can't.
Right.
I don't know why.
Right.
I don't know what it is about him. Probably because he carries himself like a cocky prick.
And that's the thing. Some people are just born arrogant. Some people are just born heels.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? All right. Well, we've already talked about Gunther making John Cena tap out like a little bitch. So the tribute video at the end, not gonna lie, I'm an emotional guy. Got a little. Here was the thing, though. I let my son stay up to watch it. I said, it's John Cena's last match. He said, I want to stay up and watch it. So he stayed up to watch it. He's 7. And then this video, first of all, he's very disappointed. He's like, I can't believe John Cena just lost his last match. I was like, yeah, I know, bud. And then
exactly why he shouldn't have tapped out.
stop. And then the tribute video is happening, and I'm trying to watch it. And he like made a drawing, and typically I'm very focused on that. But he's going, Dad, look. And I'm watching. I'm getting a little emotional. He's like, Dad, look. I'm like, all right, okay, but I just want to watch this video real quick. He's like, Dad, look at this drawing. I'm like, oh my gosh, dude. I'm like wiping tears out of my. I'm like, all right, let me see this drawing. So honestly, the post match video, Bob's hating on it. I thought it was good. I thought it was a good sense.
I didn't hate on the video. I thought I was gonna ask you though, since you said you got emotional. It seemed like the only thing that got Cena emotional was when Vince McMahon was on. Was that the part that got you, or?
So
I noticed.
I do want to say that.
I
Like,
noticed that too.
John Cena's facial expressions.
Completely straight face the whole time until Vince came on. Then he like cracked a little smile. And
Right.
the rest of the video, he was putting on his best acting chops, trying to get a tear. I swear he didn't get.
And that's the thing.
Shit, bro.
Like they wanted like this emotional thing. Even like with John Cena with the belts, he's just sitting there like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna raise him, yay.
Dude, why did they do that? And he clearly
And
didn't
like
do.
John Cena, the corniest guy you'll ever meet, is looking at all of this like this is the corniest shit ever.
He's
Like John Cena thought it was corny.
I think there's a lot of talk about how people reacted to the fans' reaction. I did feel bad because I think Cena was not. I think he was not expecting that reaction because he seemed to be zoned out. Like you could see him say when the fans were saying "fuck Triple H," he was like, "It was me." And then as soon as they put the belts on, he was like, "This is bullshit." And he seemed so. Hopefully, he didn't feel that way, but it seemed like he was in
the thing too. Like I guarantee you, 99% of this John Cena run, John Cena picked what he was doing, and the only reason it didn't fucking work, and the only reason it sucked, was because of The Rock, and not because of Triple H.
And that's the thing. I don't care what anybody says. John Cena's like, yeah, I handpicked all my opponents. I handpicked everything that we were going to do. I handpicked this, but as soon as something goes wrong, oh, I really didn't have anything much to do with it. Like, what are you doing? You can handpick all your opponents, but you can't say the direction that it's going? Like, come on, dude.
John Cena said that?
John Cena handpicked AJ Styles.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying John Cena picked what he did. Did he say that he didn't?
Yeah, there were times he said that he didn't. I don't know the exact quote, but he has gone on to say, I'm just here to do what they tell me to do.
There's been a weird dynamic. It seems like him included and others want to take credit when things are good.
Right.
And then when people weren't so thrilled, they were like, I just do what they tell me
I
to
just do what I'm told. Yeah, that's
I think whoever did it though, and I said this a couple weeks ago, is just how they spread out these dates was a mistake. There was a lot early on that were used, and then down the stretch when they could have been more useful, they weren't used. And I think that that's one takeaway. I think, a lot of stuff wasted on Logan Paul and all that crap.
I absolutely do still to this day believe that the plan was for a heel John Cena to carry the title until December 12th, Saturday night's main event, where he would have lost it. I still believe that was the plan. But The Rock and Travis Scott decided they didn't want to do it anymore, and it kind of screwed it all up. That's what I think happened, honestly.
I agree with that too. I think that's what we were going for because they wanted Travis Scott to have wrestling matches, and Travis Scott didn't want to do them anymore. Like Travis Scott basically ghosted the WWE. If the
He-
stories being told are true.
He
Yeah,
looked
I mean, there was no hint of it ending. There was no hint of it ending. Really, it was the opposite. As far as the title run, there was no hint of it ending. It was the opposite. This will go till December until it just got to the point that it was like, this needs to end
Well,
now.
the heel turn itself wasn't supposed to end until like literally the one SmackDown before SummerSlam. He's like, "Well, yeah, everyone abandoned me, so I guess I might as well become the good guy again." And SummerSlam, he came out in his blue shit. Like that's
he was like, pretty much, this is stupid. I'm just gonna
right.
be John again.
That's exactly what happened. Like there was no transition; it just ended.
Yeah. I mean,
I
hey,
think after he got in there with Punk and Punk couldn't get a good match out of him, they were like, God damn, this has got to end.
yeah, I mean, John Cena just working as a heel didn't work because he works too slow as a babyface, and then when you start working as a heel, and you got to be even more methodical. He's not the Undertaker. That's not working for me.
Right.
All right, tell me if this is working for you, though, guys. I thought the reveal was a little weird, but Austin Theory was the masked man. How do we feel?
I feel like okay. I thought it was predictable, yes, but sometimes predictability is the best. I think this is best for Austin Theory. I think it fits perfect in the vision. I think wrestling fans need to relax. And what I mean by that is we talk about it all the time that you don't need to swerve all the time. We didn't need Dean Ambrose to be the masked man. Okay? We didn't need things like that. Like people are upset that it's Austin Theory, but I'm like, well, who'd you want it to be? Well, we thought it'd be Dean Ambrose, or we thought it'd be Chris Jericho, or we thought it'd be Edge. And I'm like, what are you guys even talking about? Like, what are you doing? Like, and I think we've talked about this offline, is that we get into Booker mode, and we do it too. We don't, Bob gets upset about it sometimes, but I don't get upset when it's not what I planned. These people are losing their minds because it wasn't that big of a reveal. Ryback didn't come back, you know? It's a good story. Let the story play out.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with Austin Theory. To Rob's point, I do think there needs to be, which I expect them to do, is Austin Theory or Paul Heyman needs to cut a promo, explain why Austin Theory is the masked man. I mean, it makes sense in our heads. It's a logical guy to have be the masked man. But I mean, the last time we saw Austin Theory, he was tag team with Grayson Waller. So I do think, to keep things moving in the right direction, a good promo or a good visual why he's there or why they chose him would be nice. I was a little surprised in general, though, that they did it on Monday. It felt rushed to me. I thought a better spot to do it would have been the Braun Breaker CM Punk match or a different moment rather than kind of the end of Raw, Melee, then do it. But that's not a huge deal. It's just I was surprised he took off the mask at the end of Raw. I didn't anticipate it happening, especially in the way it did. It didn't even really feel like a huge moment. It was kind of just there. But yeah, I mean, Theory, he's got all the tools, and I think if they do it right, he should be good fit in the group.
Yeah. I thought that if they weren't going to do it at that match, at the Braun Breaker CM Punk match, if that wasn't going to be like, if they weren't going to do the reveal in a big moment like that, they should have just done it the next night because I don't know, this really just felt awkward to me. And they're still not, like you said, maybe it needs a promo, but like, I still have no idea at all if doing this for the Vision. It really didn't seem like it because we've gotten the reveal. If he's part of the Vision, he probably would have joined the Vision in the ring. He didn't do that. So I don't know if this still very well could be, like we said, a Chris Jericho stable.
It could be a rogue masked man. I mean, one interesting thing to your point is Logan Paul kind of went after him to a degree in the ring. I don't know. That could just be something that gets brushed over, but he was not embracing the masked man like he knew who it was. So
It kind of went face to face, and then when Punk came out, he ran into the crowd, and Logan.
right.
And really, if he's joining the Vision, the only person that seems like he would know would be Paul Heyman, and he's been throwing red herrings out the whole time. I actually wouldn't mind the masked man helping Logan Paul out, and Logan Paul and Chris Jericho forming a stable, because I think that'd be fun TV.
Yeah, what if we have okay, Theory is there, he's in the ring, and then another masked man comes in,
Right. And
Tom.
but because
One
he's
with
only
no ass.
So he's really, I'm trying to think back. Every time the masked man shows up, it's with Logan Paul, ain't it?
Logan Paul has been at every one, I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
It has been. It's tough to totally pinpoint that though, just because Logan Paul has been on the show more. But
every time the masked man has showed up, Logan Paul's been involved, right?
it was for he attacked Rey Mysterio, which was Logan Paul's thing.
War Games, Logan Paul was in.
All match, which the Vision wasn't there. It was really only Logan Paul. So, yeah, you're right. All 3 times he made an appearance, Logan Paul was involved, and the rest of the Vision necessarily wasn't.
And I don't feel like Logan Paul fits the Vision long term. And if Braun Breaker does become champion, I could see Logan Paul having his own stable to go against the Vision. Just throwing things out there.
Why not? Yeah. All right, well, that's all I got for WWE. You guys get anything else before we give AEW 15 minutes of our time?
I just have that, I think CM Punk on the mic has become Okada in the ring, in the sense that, man, it's not always 100%, but when that guy gets something he can sink his teeth into, he is the best in the world to talk, because that was a hell of a promo that he cut on Monday night.
So we were talking about Braun Breaker and his great promo, and when CM Punk did his retort on Monday night, I'm like, yeah, that's how you cut a promo. It was great. It really was. There were some corny lines in there, but overall, you got me sitting there being like, yep, this is why you are CM Punk.
Well, it was nice. It was nice with him bringing up the personal, don't talk about AJ, then he's talking about the Steiner brothers, and then when he gets his ass kicked at the end of the night, Braun's little rip on him to not make it personal. So I thought that tied in very nicely at the end of Raw too.
Now, I think the way they're setting up this feud is very nicely done. I hope the payoff is worth it.
We're going to have to see. I mean, this January 5th episode of Monday Night Raw, this anniversary show, if you will, is shaping out to be a show we must watch. It's the anniversary of the first Raw on Netflix, Bob. That's gotcha. Yeah, he gave me a face, but I got you. Shaping out to seem like a very interesting show. So it's definitely going to be. Hopefully they do something big. The first Raw of the year might start being a bigger deal than the night after WrestleMania.
I mean, yeah, as long as we do Netflix anniversaries.
I mean, last year was, the first one, that was a massive episode of Monday Night Raw.
Yeah,
when they tried to do that
talk for a half
January
hour.
1st pay-per-view.
Day one?
That was a flop.
It didn't work.
Nah.
Didn't the Usos main event that?
No, isn't that the one Brock Lesnar beat Big E?
Yeah, he was supposed to face Roman, and then he got in.
You're probably
Yeah.
right. Probably right. Okay, let's talk about some AEW stuff. First and foremost, Willow Nightingale, Harley Cameron are the first AEW Women's Tag Team Champions, and they won them clean.
Take your flowers, Ram. That was your...
I mean, I honestly, when the tournament first started, I thought Tony and Mina should win. But as the tournament went on, I was getting but I just really like them as a team. Like I called them the bubbliest duo in all of wrestling last week. They are just a bundle of joy. They bring me joy when they're on my screen, and they are so entertaining. And I thought they were a fantastic choice to be the first champions. Now, a dominant duo of heel women should murder them pretty soon. Just part of it.
I wouldn't do it right away though. I'd let them go in a little.
Let them hold a little bit, sure.
I would let the Black Triple Triangle team lose to them a couple of times before we get Marina Shafir and Megan Bain to kill them.
That's the team I like. I've said it. That is the pairing that I am a fan of. I am cool. I think Willow and Harley, it's a good team, and I do like them, like you said. And that group is kind of the conglomeration. Turned into an interesting stable. They're mainly on Collision a lot, but with Mark Briscoe as the champion now too, it's kind of turned into an interesting faction. But it's interesting to me too, after that, what is going on with Toni Storm. I'm kind of curious what the next steps are. It felt like she went to the tag team to win these titles. They didn't win. And now we're talking, and I think we're kind of our heads in the right direction as them not being the team that beats them. Kind of curious what the next period of time looks for her. If it's wait until Mercedes maybe wins the title, or what is exactly next. She's kind of in a little bit of limbo, but everything she does is still very good.
I think we stick around for a little bit with Marina Shirakawa, and until Mercedes does get that title, and that's when she goes back to the main event scene.
Mina Shirakawa has never been like a mainstay on AEW. Is she a mainstay on AEW now? Because in my opinion, I think Mina goes away and Tony's back to being Toni Storm. And that doesn't necessarily mean she needs to be in the title picture. She could be having one-on-one matchups with Megan Bain and Marina Shafir. Honestly, she could be having one-on-one matches and continuing. I mean, Mercedes isn't the champion, and she's not. And they could have a match. Why the hell not? I mean, we got some massive shows coming up. They need to do something, unless they're going to have her get the title back. Go ahead.
I do believe Mercedes Moné does lose all 12,000 belts that she owns and goes into a downward spiral. Toni Storm would be perfect to take that TBS title off of her.
Yeah, she could be. And to your point, that was one of my other things obviously we needed to bring up from AEW was that she did lose one of those titles to Red Velvet, the Ring of Honor TV Championship, which if I'm just full disclosure, when I saw the match booked, I was like, well, obviously Mercedes winning that. So it came as a complete shock. I mean, if she's losing to Red Velvet, you're right. The downfall has started.
Right.
Did that happen on tonight's episode of Dynamite?
No, that happened on their pay-per-view last week.
Oh, the ROH pay-per-view.
Total Honor or whatever they called it. I don't know.
Yeah, so she's down one. And, she's got a lot to go. That's why it's like, I'm not sure that she's going to be the champion maybe 4 or 5 months from now, 4 months from now, because she's got 11 more championships to lose, if that's the story we're telling.
Well, I mean, Jenny the Jobber's got to beat her at the QFR League, so.
What's all in May?
May or June. Actually, it was July last year, July 12th, I believe.
I honestly thought that was the July pay-per-view.
Yeah, it was July 12th in Dallas. I see the logo.
It's summer sometime.
Yeah. Good for Red Velvet.
Okay, so yeah, I only got a couple more things. Honestly, Joe beat Eddie Kingston, obviously, in their title match. Again, I mean, Eddie Kingston, I don't even know why he had a title match. So that's not much for me. And honestly, I don't give a shit about Eddie Kingston. I don't know how you guys feel, but I don't give a shit. I don't care. I feel
I
the
wish
same.
Eddie Kingston well, but
Hold on one sec. I feel higher about him than Mark Briscoe because he cuts a great coherent.
right.
But in terms of in-ring work, I don't. He's no better than Mark Briscoe to me, and I don't stand Mark Briscoe either.
So Eddie Kingston, I know he's coming back from injury, and I know he's probably, but like he was never the greatest in-ring wrestler to begin with, and now he's out of shape too, and it just makes it worse. Like it's like watching Brock Lesnar after 2 minutes, he's just sweating profusely, except Brock Lesnar is at least doing German suplexes. Eddie Kingston gives one chop and has to stop.
Yeah, Eddie Kingston is tough because I feel like the way he wants to wrestle doesn't always work with the person he's wrestling, and obviously, like Rob said, with he is slowing down, so whatever. I didn't expect him to win. It's fine television main event.
Yeah, it was fine. I just felt like they really played it up over the last couple of weeks. That I was kind of like surprised the match happened on Dynamite. I thought this was building to a pay-per-view match. It didn't, and I don't think it will. Well, obviously it won't, and we'll talk about that in a second. We'll close the show with what happened on Dynamite this week, which we don't normally do, but we know about it, so we got to bring it up. Match candidate of the year. This is very late in the season. Match of the year candidate. Speedball Mike Bailey defeats Kyle Fletcher in an absolute, we were talking about Kevin Knight last week being a single. And then you see a match like this from Speedball. And it's like, how they're a fine tag team. They are a fine tag team, but they can be doing something much better.
Go out of your way to watch their match with each other on Collision. You'll be very entertained. Not as good as Fletcher and Mike Bailey. We talked last week about the Continental Classic tournament and how it's just matches and for matches' sake and all that jazz. And then I watched Kyle Fletcher versus Mike Bailey, and I thought to myself, how the hell else are we going to get a match like this without the Continental Classic? So, yeah, it's just matches for matches' sake, but they are really, really, really good matches. And it is very rare from bell to bell that I just sit there and is in awe for 15 minutes. And that's what I was at this match. So we can sit here and talk shit about the Continental Classic all we want, but it's given us matches like this, and I will never complain about seeing a free match on TV of that caliber.
I was actually thinking in the car today on my drive home from work, and I was like, what is even the stakes of the Continental Classic? It's to win the Continental Championship, correct?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It feels like such a relevant tournament just off the rip. But the wrestlers themselves are treating these matches like they are the most important thing in the world, which makes the tournament worth it. As much TV time as it's taking up for seemingly no reason at all, it's giving us these like emotional, hard-hitting, pay-per-view caliber matches every single week on TV. And it's giving me we talked about Kevin Knight last week, and this week we're talking about Mike Bailey. It's giving us an opportunity to not only see great matches, but see great matches out of guys we don't get an opportunity to see in great matches too often. Like Kevin Knight and Mike Bailey have great tag team matches, but to see them work as singles and put on these bangers has been such an it makes the tournament and the TV time it's taking up well worth it. And it's because of the way the wrestlers are working.
Right. And banger after banger. And to your point of that, how else are we going to get Kyle Fletcher versus Okada? How are we going to get Claudio versus John Moxley? How are we going to get these matches that we either have never seen or haven't seen in a very, very long time? and we're getting them on TNT. Like,
Yeah, and especially from the dynamic of these guys like Mike Bailey and um, Kevin Knight that don't have the opportunity. Like, they're getting to wrestle Okada. Like, that's huge for them. You know what I mean? You get a ton of cool, like Rob said, you get the John Moxley and Claudio, and that's really cool. And the tournament creates that. But especially for those young guys that don't get the opportunities to have one-on-one matches, let alone one-on-one matches with people like an Okada or a Moxley or a Pac, to be able to really show what they can do. So it's definitely a fun tournament. It's definitely a good thing. I like that they do it. I just think that part of the problem with the tournament, to Ram's point originally, one of the things he said, that they just really haven't done a great job with the Continental Championship, which makes the tournament kind of, the lead up to it, not seem as big of a deal. I mean, Okada's held it forever. It's kind of become a stale title. And I think that they definitely need to shake that up so that going into next year, it's a little bit more exciting from the tournament side.
Question: do you guys know how old Speedball Mike Bailey is?
he's pretty old. He's been around for a while. Kevin Knight's like 26.
Kevin Knight.
But what?
Kevin Knight is 28.
28. You're right. Speedball's been around for a long time, so I'm gonna
35. 35. I was
35.
kidding.
Yeah.
He's only 35.
Yeah, I thought he was younger, honestly.
No, I knew, because he was actually banned from America.
That's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say. And I thought I heard about that like 12 years ago.
Yeah, it was before COVID. I know that. So he's been around for a little bit.
Yep.
I remember hearing about this great wrestler that can't come to the United States.
Yeah.
I just confirmed, yes, he is 35. Do you I mean, we don't normally talk about this kind of stuff, but why was he banned from the United States?
I don't know. I just know he was banned. He's from Canada. Maybe he took Molson across the border. I don't know. But yeah.
I thought he was banned from entering the country for 5 years. He was arrested trying to get into the United States.
Yeah.
Trying to work without a proper visa, that's what it says. Yeah. Okay. That's like
there's worse things he could get arrested for.
Yeah.
So.
That's lower than insider trading or something like that. I don't know. I was trying to
I was trying
to think of a white collar crime.
Tax evasion.
Anyway,
he wasn't smuggling, something like that.
Now we're going to talk about something that we don't normally talk about, the current week of AEW Dynamite. But if I'm being honest, next Wednesday is Christmas Eve. There's a chance we don't have an episode next week. It's very possible, but at the very least, we're not going to get to. Okay, let's just talk about it. MJF made his return. That's not the first point that we need to talk about, though. The first point we need to talk about is there was a contract signing tonight for an AEW championship match between Samoa Joe, Hangman Page, and Swerve Strickland. There was a contract signing. When was this match booked? When was it made? When did we build to it? We didn't do anything to get to that. We had a tag team match. We had a trios match. We did not build to Hangman, Swerve, and Samoa Joe in a world title match. When did that happen? When was it decided?
Collision. At least from the Swerve side. Swerve named himself the number one contender.
Okay.
On Collision.
What time of day is Collision on these days?
Saturday night at 10?
Yeah. Saturday night at 10 o'clock.
Don't you remember the song?
Saturday night at 10 o'clock. You can.
All right for fighting.
I'm legitimately. You cannot continue to make important things like this on Collision because it's at 10 p.m. on Saturday night. And the average human, listen, if you are over the age of 27, I don't know how you're staying up that late. If I'm being honest.
Can I make a counter argument? When's the last time you watched Dynamite live?
That's fair. Fair point. Fair point. But the other big issue that I have is the only time I can find to watch Dynamite is on a Tuesday, which is 6 days after Dynamite happens. I can't also fit Collision in there.
Yeah.
Fair counterpoint.
My thing with putting things on Collision, I know you're trying to make Collision bigger than what it should be, but this is like putting major events on Sunday Night Heat or Velocity or something
Exactly.
of that nature.
That's how I feel.
Like even if you had a show on Friday nights at 8 o'clock like normal human beings, it'd be better than what you're doing now. My big problem with this is Swerve came back, right? Swerve, when he left, was not in the title scene. Swerve, when he left, didn't have a feud with Samoa Joe. Swerve, when he left, wasn't even involved in anything other than making sure Hangman had a fair fight against, Moxley. Why is Swerve saying he's the number one contender and everybody's just like, yeah, okay.
Why did Eddie Kingston have a title match? I mean, we're just going at it here. Keep going. I mean, AEW used to be about
Wins and losses.
Matches. Winning matches got you into the main event. That's what got you there. And now it's kind of like, I don't like the guy who's the champion. Okay, here's a match.
And we have a whole tournament right now. We have a whole tournament right now for the Continental Classic.
So
and we're just naming what?
What did you say?
We have a whole tournament for the Continental Classic, right? Yeah. To decide who's going to fight for the Continental title. But meanwhile, your main title, people just show up and say, I want a title shot. And they're like, okay. It doesn't make sense to me.
I was thinking that was my other thought about the Continental Classic. I was like, I feel like this tournament would feel like a much bigger deal if it was for the number one contender for the world title.
Yeah.
And not the Continental Championship, which I forget even exists most of the time.
Most people did. They thought it was unified. Turns out it wasn't.
All right. Well, the second part of this is MJF returned and decided to cash in his contract. And now it's a fatal four-way. Now it's a fatal four-way. Now there's two people who haven't been on TV in 4 or 5 months, however long it's been, who just have a title match. And MJF had the contract, and that is completely fair. But why the hell would MJF decide to cash it in on a fatal four-way? Why wouldn't he do it on singles? Why wouldn't he wait until after the triple threat and say, I'm cashing in next week when you're battered and bruised from the triple threat?
Right? Bob, you're the AEW guru. What did Uncle Tony tell you about it?
I can't explain the MJF one. I'm going to have to see that one. That will be what I watch tonight as I go to bed. But I don't know why MJF would come back and cash it in now. But, going back, I think they screwed that thing up every which way by changing the rules and not letting him just cash in whenever he wanted to. That was not the way to handle it. It should have been done that way. By doing it this weird way where he had to cash it in advance and now he's doing it in a fatal four-way, I mean, it just comes across as dumb, which is not really the spot you want to put a heel like MJF in. So I'm hoping that it comes across on TV where MJF comes out and explains why he would want to be in a fatal four-way, but we'll see.
Bob, you brought up a good point, because the reason they changed the rules, according to Mr. Khan himself, is people shouldn't be able just to randomly say they get title shots and they get title shots. They should have preparation for it. And Swerve just randomly said he gets a title shot, so he gets a title shot.
Do you think that WWE did something about that because of the Money in the Bank? Or it was AEW saying we can't have it be exactly like the Money in the Bank.
So first and foremost, I don't think they can have a copyright on a stipulation, or else every independent scene, shoot their shots and their
Well,
contract cash in.
TNA
Right.
did the same thing. They did that feast or fired, and you could
That
cash in. So
that's what I'm saying. Like that's not
True.
if,
So
if
do you
it,
AEW deciding it's too much like the Money in the Bank? I want it to be different.
I did hear that a lot of their fans were complaining that it was WWE like, and you should have people earn their title shots, not just be able. But at the same time, you earned your title shot by getting the contract in the first place. You know,
It would have been brilliant if MJF didn't come back and then he cashed it in during that triple threat.
right?
That would have been awesome.
and I get the perspective of not wanting to be WWE light, but like you can do the things that WWE does that people like. Like I get
And
wanting
that's
to
the
be
thing. Like,
different.
who doesn't like a cash in? Who doesn't like
Yeah.
a cash in?
Yeah, I mean it's one of the big stories of the year typically is the Money in the Bank and cashing in. So having something similar, I don't think. I get a lot of AEW fans don't want anything like WWE, but I do think when they have good ideas or ideas that work, you can do your own version of that, and it's not
Right. They don't like WWE, but they have a blood and guts match, which is War Games. Like they don't like, you don't want to be like WWE, but you have multi-man tag matches that everybody loves. You don't want to be WWE, but you do WWE stuff. Like, I'm just saying, like, sometimes I get it. Everyone hates the evil empire. But guess what? The New York Yankees are being imitated by the LA Dodgers. Okay? They're just doing it better at this point.
Well, yeah, and I think there's a lot of cases across wrestling where if you really dive into a story or a match or anything, there are similarities if you really look
I mean-
hard enough. I mean, I saw a screen of Bryan Danielson's last match against Samoa Joe and John Cena's, and a lot of the shit was the same, even the ending. I'm not saying anybody's copying anything, but I'm just saying that maybe somebody
Right.
saw something and thought, we'll do it similar. And it's like, it's not a big deal. If things are good, you can do your own version of it. I mean,
And that's the thing. Like, I went to a GCW show one time. They literally called it the Art of War Games, and it was a death match in a War Games. Like, you can imitate. It's fine. Do your own style from it, though.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I mean, they made the decision to change the way the contract worked, and MJF seems like an idiot. But we're gonna have to watch the show and find out, and we'll talk about it the next time we talk again. I'm not sure. We're gonna have to talk to see if we can fit in an episode next week. It's gonna be tough with the midweek Christmas, but we'll do our best. Other than that, any final thoughts, gentlemen?
one thing I wanted to say, if Tony Khan's listening, to your point about Collision, they should bring back, like, back in the day, WWE had the Raw Rebound on SmackDown where they would show clips. They should do that for Collision. That way people that don't watch Collision can get a little video package, keeps you a little up to date. I think that'd be a good idea.
So even if they don't want to do that, if you progress storylines or there's something big that happens right before a segment on Dynamite, you should probably be like, this is what happened on Collision for you guys who don't want to watch Collision. You don't have to say that, be like, all right, here's what happened on Collision. Now let's go into the follow-up on that.
Yeah. That's called Instagram these days, probably, but I don't follow.
Yeah. Can't assume everybody's watching everything.
They should do Collision at 10 o'clock in the morning on Saturday.
Didn't WWE do that little kids show? It was like Saturday Slam.
I thought they had a Saturday morning thing, but
There used to be WWE Espanol on Saturday mornings.
And Velocity.
Velocity.
We'll look
Velocity was only like 11 o'clock.
We'll look
I
it
don't
up.
know.
All right, gentlemen, that's going to do it for this week's episode. We'll be back maybe next week, maybe not. We'll see. But regardless, we will talk about all the things wrestling when we do come back. End of season award show coming up soon. And until then, enjoy your wrestling.
We are Marks. Bob brought a ram, nothing more to go. Say it is our favorite.